So first off, I want to say that this video should have been out last week, but I got severe writer's block. Turns out it's very difficult to come up with different creative ways of saying, and then I killed everyone, without it sounding stale. Regardless of that, we finally have today's video. Some people play Fallout as an adventure game, others as a survival, or even as just a first-person shooter. But I wondered, what happens if we play it as a kill 'em all slasher game? In today's video, we find out, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as the Hillbilly? Now, who is the Hillbilly? In short, he's a killer unique to the game Dead by Daylight. More about him will be explained later, but while we wait, let's talk about the rules. These rules are very simple, so try to follow along. The only weapons I can use are the chainsaw and the sledgehammer. The only outfit that I can wear is the Merc Grunt outfit, as it's the closest approximation to his outfit, and when I have my weapons, I have to kill anyone I come across. With that short and sweet intro out of the way, let's begin. So starting with character creation, we make our face as broken as possible to represent him as closely as we can, give ourselves a 10 in strength, endurance and agility, while dumping the remaining stats into luck. Then we select medicine, melee weapons and repair as our tag skills, select skilled and Logan's loophole as our traits, as I don't see myself even reaching level 30, and we're on our way. So the run itself doesn't actually begin until we have our weapons, so we make sure not to harm anything until we have one of our two weapons. Thankfully, we have information on where we can find a loose version of both of our weapons, so we head to the emergency service rail yard to find our sledgehammer. As we leave Goodsprings, we reselect our traits just so we can get an extra 5 points from skilled at no additional detriment. While we walk to a rail yard, let's have some backstory on this character. The Hillbilly. The son of wealthy landowners Max and Evelyn Thompson, this unnamed boy was an unwanted child born to savage parents. Hideously disfigured, he was shut away from society. So ashamed they were of their son, they bricked him into a room and fed him through a hole in the wall. When the boy escaped, he took his revenge savagely and terribly, slaughtering the parents who had tortured him instead of raising him. We've now made it to the rail yard, and while it takes us a hot minute, we do manage to find the sledgehammer and immediately repair it using the weapon repair kit that we got from Victor's shack. We go to test it out on some bighorner and yeah, it's pretty damn effective. So now it's on to finding our chainsaw. According to the article that I found on Fallout Wikia, one can be found on a shelf in Cook's hideout, so guess where we're headed? On the way, we run into Neil's shack and decide to take out the mutants near the base of Black Mountain. Despite them using hunting rifles, they surprisingly don't hit all too hard, thanks to my massive endurance stat. We also get a sweet look at the Mauler ability, knocking down these super mutants as we go. This is long before I even get access to a super slam perk. This is my first time ever doing a melee run in this game, so having access to such a powerful mechanic so soon, it kind of brought a lot of joy to my soul. This was, however, very short-lived. After the mutants, the knockdown on the Mauler never happened again. That said though, let's go get this chainsaw. While we work our way over to Cook, let's have a second half of the backstory for the Hillbilly. After the deed was done, he continued to live his life at the farm, taking out his deranged violence on the animals that were allowed to run free. As he finally broke free from his shackles, he ran through the cornfields, chasing and slaughtering whatever he could find. They never found the bodies of Max and Evelyn, but they did find tortured and disemboweled animals all over the farm. Coldwind Farm was quickly settled and the land split up and sold off. There was never a buyer for the farmhouse, perhaps because of a sound of a chainsaw that you could hear throughout those hot summer nights. When we finally work our way through the Fiends, where is it? Where is this chainsaw? Well, it was here I found out that the post about a chainsaw being there was pure bullshit. I knew that there was something wrong, as I've never ever seen a chainsaw there in any of my other runs. And yeah, I scouted the whole area and no fucking chainsaw. Anyway, let's cool down. We go and bathe in the blood of the fiends outside Vault 3 and oh shit, I'm about to die. Time to make a break for it, as I have way too few healing items to make this viable. We decide to run past the fiends at the door, but nah, this is gonna be a lot harder than I previously thought. For some reason, I had this grandiose idea that the fiends would just crumple under the weight of Mr. Sledgy, but no. These fiends hit hard, they hit fast, and they won't let me take a hit of any of their damn drugs. Is this bullying? While we contemplate that, we decide to hide in a toilet stall, and this actually weirdly works. The fiends just will not open the stall. As such, I decide to drink shit and eat piss, go beat the crap out of some fiends, rinse and repeat, and eventually all of the immediate fiends are down. We then go and loot the cafe, take out the final door guard, and go clear out pool cue heaven. These pool cues and drugs are gonna be vital for this run. Why? Because who doesn't love tripping balls while repairing sledgehammers with light oak wood? Once everyone's dead, we get a few meds, go take out the park ranger, and now it's time for the residential area. We level up, and now we decide it's only right we have the instant healing from people. Cannibal is necessary. Once we've feasted in front of the prisoners, we take out the remaining living scum, loot some more drugs, and go devour the free-range captives. They had so much space to play, and even got a minor taste of freedom. Now it's on to Motor Runner, and you know what? He was the least threatening person in the room. No change there. Once we've taken him down, we now have full access to making the world mine to consume. We decide to go back to Goodsprings, and now the quest actually makes sense. Run, Goodsprings. Run for your lives, because some psychopath no longer has use of you. Being the first to fall, there was no real challenge here. On the plus side though, after I'd killed off the saloon, somehow Trudy and Joe spawned, without me needing to do the tutorial. I won't lie, this made Trudy's death so much easier. After wiping out everyone and ransacking the town, it was now time to head to Prim? Jay, where are you going? Oh, it's already prison time? Why am I heading to the prison then? Well, when I killed Joe Cobb, I didn't actually suffer any fame loss with the powder gangers. So I decided it's probably a safer bet to take out the prison now, before I pissed everyone off. Once more, no real challenges here, at least until we get into the main office. See here, Eddie's bodyguards actually put up more of a fight than I expected. They still crumpled, however, allowing us to move on to Prim. This was just an outright slaughter. Bison Steve dropped like a sack of potatoes, and Vicky and Vance just turned into chunks in the same amount of seconds as it's taken me to say this sentence. Notably though, I did manage to loot my outfit early inside one of the Prim houses. Now this is peak masculinity. So we continue down the main quest track, cut through a few vipers? Jackals? I always get the two confused. Anyways, now that they're down, we begin our first true slaughter. We reach the Mojave outpost and begin swinging from the inside out. This fight proved much harder than first expected due to all of the service rifles firing my way. At one point it got so dire that we had to duck into the barracks. And here, we were met with even more resistance, and on our first attempt, got dropped. Second time around, I decided it was chainsaw time and cut through everything that stood in my way. Now is probably a good time to mention I've made it a personal rule that all potential companions must die, regardless of how out of the way that they are. So I'm sorry Cass, you were the first in the culling. Now I'm also sure that anyone who's played New Vegas for even a day would be asking, well, what about Eddie? Well, because Eddie starts off already destroyed and the player has to repair it, I find it quite redundant to bring something back to life just to kill it again. Regardless, the rest of the NCR crumbles to bits here. So it's now on to Nipton. Here we drop Swanwick, end the suffering of those who came before, and after admiring their handiwork, gut the Legion. We don't just stop after ending them though. Oh no, we go into a town hall and finish off the hounds that are left behind. Now in at least a semi-decent position with our meds, we take a quick run to Novac, stopping on the way to take out Ranger Station Charlie and picking up a few more meds. We make it to Novac, and not wanting to leave any job half done, we go door to door like a crappy salesman, putting each and every single person down. Now that Boone has been sent to the shadows, this leaves us with just 5 more companion souls to take. While here also, we steal all of the supplies that we can to make weapon repair kits. If there's one thing that Novac is good for, it's stealing weapon repair kits. Now we're in such a golden position with repair supplies, I don't think we'll need to loot anything else to maintain our equipment. I'm not going to stick to that belief though, so haha, fuck me. I hate myself. Instead of going directly to the 188 and across to Boulder City, I instead decide to go the long way around. We head down the road to Nelson, and despite my treachery, the Legion here somehow don't want me dead. So I fix that by going into Dead Sea's barrack and eviscerate everyone here. Neither the Legion nor the NCR and Fallen Hope really stand a chance. With both sides deftly under-equipped, the damage that they do is so little that even if they somehow did hit me with a terrible accuracy, they'd barely even take off a small bar of health. With all of the XP and supplies that I received from the last 2 locations, I was in a much healthier position to go and take out Boulder City. Surprisingly, the NCR were much less of a threat than the Khans. With their SMGs, the Khans were handily dropping my health like it was nothing. After being chewed through like a blue steak, I execute the prisoners. That's better. And then I go and take out Jessup. Nothing special here, so next in line is a 188, and I decide it's time to invoke the true spirit of Dead by Daylight. 2 versus 8. You see, in Dead by Daylight, there's a game mode where 2 killers face off against 8 survivors, as opposed to the usual 1v4. As such, we grab Veronica as a companion and we lay waste to the rest of the trading post. Picking up Veronica does have a second utility, which you will see in just a minute. Anyway, we now decide to take our destructive nature to Black Mountain. You see, I didn't actually get to end all of the mutants here at the start of the run, so now it's time to actually finish what I started. The mutants were mostly ineffective, with the only actual issue here being the Nightkin sniper and his missile launcher. Annabelle hits hard, but she's still not enough when it comes to a little bit of CQC. Tabitha then gets dropped, and now we go and say hello to Danny Trejo. Hi Danny! Bye Danny! The last to fall at Black Mountain is Mo, and then we go and test out how effective we are with a sledgehammer. The scorpions around the gulch were never gonna be a real issue though. With a natural knockback from a sledgehammer, they could barely even get a hit in. So now, it's time for the real reason that we found Veronica. Veronica is actually a free pass into Hidden Valley, allowing me to bypass the collar section and go immediately to the extinction of a Brotherhood. Surprisingly, Veronica actually helps me take out the entirety of the upper level in Hidden Valley, mostly annihilating the threat in the bunker. She eventually turns on me after everyone's dead, but just will not attack me. Thanks Veronica. You just made this easy. And now with only 3 more companions left alive, we head on into the lower level. And this was annoying. Not because I kept dying though. This only actually took a couple of tries. No, the irritating part was all of the scribes inside the maintenance bay. All of the scribes used melee weapons or unarmed weapons, which meant that there were constant blocks. Whether I used the chainsaw or the sledgehammer, it really didn't matter, as they just kept on stopping me. Eventually, everyone was dead, but that just was not enough for me. Knowing what the Brotherhood of Steel is capable of, I set the base to self-destruct and just walk out the base, proud of what I've done. I then head on over to Sloan to take out the inhabitants and, no, Snuffles, no. I did what I had to. Anyway, I don't know what possessed me to do this next load of stupid shit, but I decided it's a great idea to go to Quarry Junction and test out my gear. Chainsaw, ineffective. Sledgehammer, inefficient. Super Slam, inactive. I don't know what else I was expecting. Anyways, now we go over to Vault 19 while on the way to Khan's, and I think we know what ending I'm going for at this point. That's right, if I'm going to do a kill everything run, the only feasible and possible ending that I can do is yes man. While we take out the vault, let's discuss this. So, the Hillbilly was always an outsider just for being born. There's an argument to be made that we could have gone for a Legion ending, considering he is a melee killer and is brutal in his methods, but let's be brutally honest for a moment. A man with no social skills, spending his life being bricked into a room and barely being given any form of life, he wouldn't even know how to communicate with a Legion, even if he wanted to. Not that he would anyway. He spent his early life being treated as cattle by his parents, trapped in a small room. Essentially speaking, he was their slave. He would not agree with the slavery that the Legion upholds, especially not seeing the slaves being beaten or worse. It would just remind him of his own life. Anyway, the gangers and geckos in the vault are now dead, so it's over to Bonnie Springs to end some more raiders, and now to Red Rock. Just like the Legion and the NCR, despite being hated by the Khans, they are not immediately hostile. As such, this is gonna be much easier than I thought. We murder everyone in the long room, then take it out to the main camp and what the fuck? Jack and Diane are friendly despite hearing a chainsaw in the distance and the volatile screams of their friends. Ooh, cocaine. Guys, you gotta die, but I like your style. Now it's time to head into real society though. Before we do, however, we take out Violet and her puppies, head into a motel, and end the inhabitants. And now for McCarran. I initially decide to try going in with hammer swinging and yeah, that's not gonna work. So now I invoke DBD perk builds. In Dead by Daylight, there are perks that make you undetectable or make survivors oblivious, essentially allowing you to play as a stealth-based killer. As such, I pop a stealth boy and blast through everyone that I can until it runs out. Surprisingly enough, it lasts for the entirety of the murder, both on the outside and in the main lobby of the airport itself. This also allows me to steal all of the medicine I can get my hands on, and now it's on to the common area. Nothing here really poses a challenge, and everyone just falls to the chainsaw. Contreras gets dropped, and now we head back towards the gunrunners. Spoiler, I never get the lockpick to break into the place, and Isaac just never shows up there throughout the entire run. So the gunrunners will just have to, I don't know, starve to death? Orion Moreno gets beaten to a pulp, and his outfit then feeds mine. And now it's time for Freeside. Literally nothing here is a challenge. Cutting through the followers, thanks Ganon, citizens, and even the kings. Sorry Rex. This now leaves us with only one companion remaining. Brownie points if you can guess who it is. The Silver Rush? That was not even the remotest problem, being as all of the guards pile out of a door and just get turned into chunks from a chainsaw. So I'm gonna explain one of my skill choices while we go and take on the robot guards in the strip. So why did I choose repair? Well, let's be entirely real. Chainsaws are not actually meant to cut through bone and flesh. Who'd have thought? The blades already blunt and jam enough when using them on trees. So if you're cutting up people, the chunks and blood are gonna rust the blade, cause it to jam, and blunt it down, right? As such, how does a hillbilly go on killing sprees without ever having an issue with his chainsaw? Well, he's gotta be a master of maintenance, at least with the chainsaw. He's got to be cleaning it, sharpening it, and just cherishing it like some kind of golem-like being. My precious. Oh, I hate myself. Anyway, now the NCR on the strip proved to be less than a challenge due to not having guns. Their cattle prods do like 0 damage, and these guys basically never block. so the monorail just falls in the matter of a couple of minutes. In the process of a strip extermination, I cut through the White Sox and they were a joke, dealing minimal damage but at least being handy with blocks. But when they fall, the embassy was soon after. You know, they kind of had the exact same issues as the monorail, but the only problem is, Crocker just disappears into the ether, meaning that no matter what, I fail the challenge here, as he never comes back, so I couldn't kill him. No matter though, let's continue on with the challenge and see how the rest would have gone. Well, Michelangelo's and Vault 21 go about as well as it can, but I have a question. Why on earth can I repair a chainsaw with a pool cue? Like, how does that even make sense? What parts can I salvage from a pool cue to use in a chainsaw? Like, at all. Anyway, we then cut through the chairman, destroy Yes Man without ever talking to him, bludgeon all of the Omertas to a pulp, and then go and waste house. The strip was a lot easier than I thought it would be, excluding the explosions. We then go and pay a visit to a Crimson We then go and pay a visit to a Crimson Caravan. Mostly no issues here either, but there was a slight problem with many shotguns dealing small damage. It soon added up and became a minor inconvenience, but we managed it and gave a whole camp the hillbilly love that they so deserved. Now when they were dead, the followers inside the medical clinic were the last in line, and I was soon disappointed to find no medical supplies in there at all. No matter. It's off to Nellis now, and before I can make the run, some rangers stopped me to tell me that they were sad that I was mean to them. I told them to kill me and they just ran scared. Fucking pussies. Anyway, we do drugs and we make a break for the fence, super spoody like. They take me to their leader, bad call boomers. This zoomer takes out Pearl and proceeds to do a full circle around the base. A few notable bits here though. Firstly, someone's chunklets made me float inside the barracks for a brief second, which that amused me slightly. And then we come to the farming area. Now, I had to sneak before I got to the tent, as there's a boomer with a fat man, and there is no way that I was gonna tank a nuke to the face, no matter how many drugs that I took. But finally, we get inside the mess hall, and there were so many explosions, I had to use my turbo to survive. Turns out the multiple explosives to the face really do not tickle. Anyway, the boomers are now all dead, but I heard about Bitter Springs on the radio. They said about a refugee camp? NCR failed to kill them all? Not on my watch. So after a long, painful journey, we end up at Bitter Springs and go put the refugees out of their misery. I accidentally beat a couple of children in the process, but after they died, the NCR wanted a taste of a sledge too. Once they were dead, there wasn't really much left. The wasteland was almost pure. We went to clear out the NCR from Camp Golf, and unsurprisingly, it just was not an issue at all. With the troopers so spread out, they made easy targets to knock down and never get back up. The biggest issue actually laid in the rangers that were in the barracks. Nothing that a handy dandy chainsaw couldn't fight through though. So afterwards we then make it to North Vegas, beat its residents, and move over to Westside. We're doing this real quick now. Starting with a Thorn, everyone in there melted to the power of Mr. Sledgy. And then it was time for a game of cat and mouse, cutting down everyone in Westside proper. I expected Mean Son of a Bitch to be more of an issue, but I'm now at the point where my weapons are too much for anyone in close range. As such, Westside just gets brutalized, and we now head north, as there's only one friendly location that I need to deal with. Now if you guessed that Lily was the last companion, congratulations! Have a virtual cookie, or a few thousand. Once more, Super Slam overperforms, dropping the mutants before they can do too much damage to me, and Lily even folds under Sledgy's raw power. Finally, we have one last location left to purify, Cottonwood Cove and the fort. Wanting a unique kill, we drop the rad barrels into the cove and we see the Legion who lived come to die. We then end up having a little bit of a water battle with Corsa Lucullus in the lake, and then go step on the bull. The entrance to the fort was broken with very little resistance at all, and even in the main camp with a few meds, everyone dropped real quick. The only actually scary part of this fort was Caesar's tent. Hammer swinging, we stun lock a couple of guards, but eventually the pressure is just way too much. So we pop some turbo and end the rest of the Praetorians. Then we go across to the weather station, and inside we get to destroy some more bots, turrets, and it's here that I hit my next snag. Hooray! I can't break the generators, meaning that I can't destroy the Securitrons. Like, melee weapons just do not work on them. So instead we have to make them stronger and fail the run again. But we finally go to Yes Man, we tell him that we've killed everyone, install him into house, go to his basement, and now it's time to go and eat the oh, wait. Yeah, the NCR hate me, so I can't kill the president. Shit. Oh well. We now have to go to the El Dorado substation and raise the morale of a few corpses, and then we go to the dam. Final thoughts while we go and make the dam inoperable. So honestly speaking, I've actually thoroughly enjoyed doing a melee based run. And with that said, if you would like to see me do a run of Fallout New Vegas as a melee character, playing it as myself, let me know and I'll happily make a small series at some point in doing so. I did something similar years ago as a personal playthrough, playing as a Legionnaire, but that still allowed me to use a few guns. So it should be interesting to see what a pure melee build can do. Additional to that, I'm also streaming Dead by Daylight quite regularly on my Twitch in a minute, so if you want to see how the game plays and see the main inspiration of this run, go ahead and give me a follow over there, link in the description. We've now completely destroyed the dam once and for all, and it's finally time for the full assault. Fighting through the final remaining Legion, my Securitrons become fodder for my final advance into the Legate's camp. The Legion in here fall fast, but the Legate is a different story. After multiple attempts, I came to a strategy of this: knock down the Legate, chainsaw the Praetorians, then keep the Legate in stun lock. When he's dead, mop up the remaining forces with a sledgehammer, and then we go to finish off the NCR. That said, on the first attempt, this doesn't go well. I tried to fight the NCR and get my shit absolutely rocked. Making it back to this point though, I immediately run and the Securitrons just melt the NCR, and I proved that no, you cannot beat Fallout New Vegas as the Hillbilly. It was worth a try though. Thanks for watching.